Okay. Hi there. I see that we already live now. And just before we get started, we wait like 2-3 minutes more for all registered participants. So maybe we'll do some kind of entertaining now. Short two questions to whom already to people who already join us. Can you just let me know if you are hearing me correctly and if you are seeing the first slide of presentation? Hmm? Anyone? But Wojciech, you are seeing my presentation. Oh, yeah,
Absolutely.
and you are hearing me. That's cool. Oh, yes. Well, can hear you well and can see the first slide. Amazing. Thank you for that. So maybe, well, second question. I see you. I see you too. Okay. Second question. Where are you from, guys? Or what kind of company you are from, or what country or city? UK. Cool. Some other countries, maybe. No? Don't be shy, guys. Write a comment. India, Sweden. Perfect. Perfect. Cool. Okay. So, well, I think we can start. Belgium. Yay. So we have like, maybe not half of Europe right now, but well, some several countries. Cool. Okay. Wojciech, I think we. Hamburg. Okay. Germany. Cool. Nice to see you guys, and thank you for those comments. I think we can start right now. New Delhi, India. Maybe there is some lag in our response. Okay, so maybe we'll just wait like a few seconds more. Okay. Again, thank you for joining us. And so, just few words of introduction. We are X Plus. We specialize in Dynamics ERP implementation. Also, we have like a scope of products helping our clients to solve their everyday task using Dynamics environment. I'm Rafał Nyszewski, and I will be your moderator for today's webinar using process mining to optimize process in Dynamics 365 FSCM. So again, I'm very glad that you have joined us. And as usual, we have prepared you something special. This is our second webinar about our latest tool, our latest mining tool, Executive Explorer. A couple of housekeeping things before we get started. The chat is on, as we have already tested a little bit. So you can ask the questions during the webinar, and we'll answer them at the end of today's session. Also, we are recording this webinar. We will send the link to the recording on the email address which you have registered with. Today with me is Wojtek. Wojtek is head of our X Plus product development department. Very smart and clever guy.
Thank you.
To be honest, this is his first show. It's not show. This webinar in X Plus. So
No,
yeah,
not the first one.
not the first one. Sorry. Okay. Okay, we will just move forward to today's webinar agenda. First, we will do a short introduction to why the gathering data is so important in any business activity. After that, we'll show you how the activity of your users can be some kind of starting point of internal process optimization. Afterwards, we'll move to real case study with Executive Explorer. This is a real case study which we have held together with one of our clients, so this is quite worth content. Then we have, like I've already mentioned it, the live Q&A session. Okay, so now to the start of the show. Wojtek.
Thank you. Thank you very
The
much,
floor is
Rafał.
yours.
Hello, everyone. Nice to meet you. Yes, so as Rafał mentioned, we'll start by talking a little bit about process mining. So why AI and machine learning are the hottest technologies right now on the market, and yeah, what machine learning and process mining based on machine learning can do, to improve the processes. Of course, the reason machine learning provides, this is so important is that provides capabilities that are not accessible for humans thanks to big computing power, right? So it can help identify patterns that we can't, right? So this can be used, for multiple things. We are talking only about the process optimization today, but or we'll briefly also touch other subjects, but first and foremost, it can help us, to automatically detect processes and thoroughly analyze them, right? We can find improvements, opportunities, robotization opportunities, right? But it can, do many more things, like, for example, analyze your user, how they behave in the system. So, how different team members can work, together, how the efficiency grow over time. Um, they get, the knowledge, I mean, the data you see can help to organize work better and, to replicate best practices. We'll actually see the brief example of this in today's case study as well, right? There is obviously more, so you can manage security and segregation of duties a little bit better, so by knowing what data is people have access to, you can track some unusual behaviors and security related risks. um, and last 2 points, huge amount of data can improve decision making, and I would say drastically improve, decision making. I mean, forecasting, which means, see demand, stock, pricing, but any other decision making can be improved by gathering a lot of data. And this is no surprise that all leading tech companies in the world are focused on, data gathering, and why data science as a discipline becomes, such an important, asset, right? Data becoming really like a asset of companies. Right. So as I mentioned, I will be talking mainly about the first aspect of the machine learning use within the ecosystem of Dynamics, right? Which is process optimization, right? So using process mining tool to optimize the processes, right? Um, and in order to properly detect and analyze processes, we need to actually teach algorithms, what our users do in the system, right? So, as you may know, most of the process mining tools on the market, and even the leading solutions on the market, they use log analysis, which obviously have a lot of limitations, right? So you can only track which is, the log. Our tool is a little bit different, and you will see, you can see a screenshot from the tool. I will show it briefly in a second. Um, but our tool actually is designed in a different way, so it actually reads everything really, live from the system. So we have actually entire reality, we call it, like a single source of true, but also thanks to, years of experience in implementing ERP systems, right? We also have the context, right? So we can teach the algorithm, so they can analyze everything, right? So yes, so
Okay,
let's have a look at the system.
maybe just before that, Wojtek, I would just want to share the link for the free trial, because all of today's participants can register, like 5 first companies which will get in touch with this link will receive a free trial of Executive Explorer with our full customer support. So the link should be just like visible in the chat section within seconds. So feel free to click on it and register for your free trial. We will help you to determine and check what kind of data gathering can help you in your business decisions in daily basis. Okay, Wojtek. So I will just right now, we'll start this showcase of Executive Explorer.
Yes. So before of course we're gonna talk about these examples, real use case. Let me briefly show the tool itself. Right. So you can see here This is the table of all the processes identified by the algorithm. So it's actually automatic detection, right? And you can see the area the process is from. You can see some statistics. You can obviously manipulate the statistics, right? So you don't only display those that are necessary for you. But since we are talking about the process optimizations, right? The subject of today's webinar is how to optimize processes. So we look for things that are heavy, right? So you that are executed many times and have like a long execution time, right? So let's have a look. We have a process that have so many such a such a heavy one. By the way, there is one more important field: potential optimization or robotization potential, right? So the simpler the process is, it's obviously easier to be robotized, right? So there is also a case how you can not only optimize, so deep dive into how it's executed, but also how other automation opportunities can be used. But let's have a look briefly here. So, right, so oh, I'm sorry, just locked me out. So yeah, so you can see here that this is the um, like a creating new customer, right? So you can see the specific KPIs, but we can see all executions, right? So this process, obviously, ERP system is such complex that you can execute specific process, in a many different ways, right? So you can actually analyze and you can see the display on the graph, how the specific execution is done, and we can even go further, right? And deep dive, into all the executions, analyze, how long a special execution lasted, or even go in, to the level of the specific execution and see click by click, or even go to the business context and see what exactly was, input into the specific form, right? So the entire business context, right? I mean, every single information, right? And you can hear also client time, so how long specific step took, and also server time. And please keep this point in mind, because when I'm going to show you the case study, I will also refer to the server time here. So, so this data is really interesting, will be displayed later, right? You can see here that specific steps are underlined because they are longer, right? So it already give you um, certain direction, right? Here you can look on these specific steps because they are just longer than others, right? Obviously, there is a lot of other things, and you can see this tool has so many other capabilities, pivots. You can display data in so many different ways. Also, you can generate templates, for test automation. As you probably may know, we also have test automation tools for Dynamics 365. So you can generate template, and actually all the processes that were identified can be automatically moved to the test automation, right? So there are so many other interesting uh, things here, right? But I think we will stop here, and I will just jump to this case study. Yes, so yes, I'm not going to throw some theoretical examples. I will actually discuss how this tool was used, for our customer, and we will just show you some of the data. Obviously, it's not all the statistics, because we would probably need to spend here more than 1 hour, but at least you can, have a feeling what Executive Explorer can do. So yes, so some basic information about the project. The algorithm is still implemented in the production environment, so it keeps recording and gathering the data while we speak. But the statistics that I'm going to show you are just from 2.5 months of analysis, right? So you simply took like a snapshot of the data, and sort of try to analyze to see what we can already optimize or improve um, in business environment of our client. So you can see here that almost 300 users identified. They perform more than 9,000 different processes, of which 159 were key processes, right? And remember, like in a second ago, I presented this table with in the tool, right? With the various processes and number of execution time. So when we say key processes, which mean those heavy, right, key processes that are performed very often, and they have many steps and take a long time, to 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 um, to perform, right? So what we mean by key process, we mean not just key business process, but those key, or those that have the heaviest optimization potential. Okay, and you can see that that number of executions, more than 100,000 times, right? So 131 to be very precise. Yeah, so let's now start with some basic information, right? Some warm up. So, first of all, we can see, the most active users in the system in the entire group. Then, of course, we can deep dive a little bit, and the next information is, time consumption per company. Obviously taking in consideration the headcount of the specific company, right? So we can see how the workload is distributed in the specific companies in the group. But this piece of information is very interesting, right? Have a look. We analyze how, the same process is performed in the different companies in the group, right? So you can see here that, yeah, there are some differences, right? And once again, process mining doesn't give you the right answer, how to optimize or whether actually something is for optimize, a good case for optimization, but at least we can see some interesting place, right? So there are some key differences between, and we can already see what users we are talking about, right? So we can deep dive and just a click through down to the specific execution and actually see, right? Well, maybe some users actually have some best practice that we can replicate, or maybe there are some specific problems, right? I'll talk about it in a second. Okay, so please, this is, I would like to pay attention to this slide because I think this is the most important one. You see there are some selected areas that we qualified for optimization, or at least for further analysis, right? And you can see that, some of them, are, typical processes, purchase agreement, creation of the forecast, etc., etc. But, we have some kind of interesting areas like repetitive actions or navigating through the menu, right? And you can see here on the far right column, how much time these specific processes take, right? So it's like a huge amount of time, more than 20,000 hours, right? Just in 2 months. So of course, during the webinar, we won't be able, to analyze them all. We should probably spend, a longer period of time and just to deep dive and, decompose every single area and see whether there is a potential for optimization or robotization. But, for the example's sake, we can deep dive into those three that, that were on the top, right? And as you can see, there is like a lot of hours that we can save. So first one, repetitive actions, right? You can see that while preparing the forecast, the user enters the same value 99 times, right? 99 times, right? Hear that, right? So uh, just to be very honest with you, this process is not performed in the company, very often. So it is maybe not the best process for optimization, right? Because it will not provide amazing savings, right? It will not reduce the cost of of operations drastically, right? But have a look from the sort of user satisfaction perspective, right? I mean, inputting the same information, again and again, it's like it's not the most probably satisfying thing people can do, right? Um, in the next example, you can see the process of creating purchase agreement, and yes, this process have 636 steps. Right? You see, that's like a third bullet, right? And in some cases, value budget line was how many times? 33 times, and the value number 2 was input 33 times, 36 times, right? So you can see once again like a lot of repetitive manual work, right? So if we reduce this process only for about 20%, we can save 105 days. Yeah? So the third example that we took from the list is, one repetitive work, right? So you can see here that out of this almost 300 users, 98 perform repetitive work 4 hours per month, right? So if we, multiply, right, 4 hours per month, right, times 100 users, you have 400 hours of, repetitive work that potentially could be reduced, right? In not necessarily with very sophisticated solutions, right? And this one is very interesting. It's we talk about repetitive actions, so we talk about the navigation through the menu, right? So you can see that users spend 2,000 hours just browsing through the menu, right? So imagine that we can reduce even this time. This is actually annual time, right? So if we you can ask the question, right? You just recorded for 2 months, but you're talking about the year. So we just extrapolated, right? We say that if during this period every month there is specific amount of time, we simply made assumptions that browsing through the menu is sort of the standard time spent every month. So we have 2,000 hours just browsing and looking important things in the menu, right? So if we reduce this amount of time in half, imagine what savings you can have. Yeah. Okay. So I mentioned that obviously the main subject is process optimization, and I just gave you a couple of examples, right? How in a very short period of time we can find some optimization potential, and pretty quickly, right? By sometimes very quick and simple solutions. But the system provides other things as well. So we can, for example, track activities down to a single form. I presented this on the tool. This is obviously just from the some anonymized data from the project, which is obviously very helpful when we sort of try to recreate errors, right? So you can, if you have a ERP support, it can take your ERP support to a completely new level, right? You can imagine machine learning, AI powered support, right? When you can actually track everything and understand what happened, right? And this is sometimes a real problem, right? Um, Yes, this is one. I remember, when we started the webinar and I was presenting the tool, I told you have a look. This is the client time and server time, right? And I say, pay attention to this one because this I'm going to talk about it in the later slide. And here it is. You see that we identified that that 6 users in the company have some longer client time that company average, right? So it means that I mean, we don't know yet what it means for sure, but it's actually very peculiar information, and we can deep dive. Maybe these people have, I don't know, older laptops, or maybe network is bad, something with the infrastructure. It doesn't necessarily mean that something is wrong with their ERP system. It means that maybe they don't have optimal conditions for work, right? So you can also see this and sort of try to optimize your IT environment. So right now let's summarize, right? This is obviously, once again, just a brief example what can be done with Executive Explorer, but just by, if we assume that we save or sort of optimize processes 50% of what was presented in the previous slides, we can save up to 10,000 hours, right, per year. So you can see more than 1,000 days, work days. So now try to visualize, right, how many people they're sitting and doing work that doesn't have to be there, right? And they can do something more useful, right? But it's not just about cutting the cost of operations, right? It depends on from the industries, right? So retail production, where processes are very, there's big volumes of the processes. These amounts can be, much higher, right? And we have clients who actually have much bigger volumes, right? But there is actually something more, right? You can see on the top right corner, we obviously can improve user satisfaction by eliminating stupid repeatable actions, right? So people don't have to input 36 or whatever number of times the same value. It can be predefined, right? There are simple ways of solving those things. One more thing, obviously, we can provide data for error root cause analysis, right? So if something happened, we can recreate the error and sort of analyze. And obviously, last but not least, we can provide foundation for anti-fraud tracking, right? Segregation of duties, and any further automation, right? As I mentioned to you, right? This creation of test cases automatically, right? So how to, export these processes. We are working on other solutions, so how to combine this with security setup, right? So we can, by having machine learning and sort of gather data, analyze it, provide, other automations, right? And yes, exactly. That I want to say. This is just a journey. So obviously, like Rafa told you at the beginning, this is one of our latest tools. It already has certain successes, as you can see. But for us, product development is always a journey. So we are not sort of, we have very ambitious plans, and yes, and as you can see, this is just a glimpse of from our roadmap. So we are just working on advanced reporting. Algorithms are still being enhanced, right? So more the data they gather, they learn, and they become even more accurate. You see automated testing here. So we're just trying to combine this with other tools we have. But what I would like you to, because I'm coming to an end, so I would like you to know that. Our roadmap is community driven. So this journey is something that we really would like to do with our clients and with our partners. So if this sounds interesting to you, not only we are happy to to show you the tool, but you will be able to participate in this journey, right? Yeah, yeah, but because that's always sort of important for us to deliver more value, right? So to learn and you know yeah.
And to, guys, to be with us, just remember about this free trial, because as you will join us together, we will probably find to get together a solution which will be as some kind of value added for you from this data gathering tool. So the link is all still visible in the chat section. It's still visible. So go there, just click it, register for the free trial, and we'll be more than happy to serve you with this tool and help you to find this value added from it. Okay, so moving forward to the question and answer section, I see that we have already a few questions in the chat. Maybe we'll start from the first one. I will just show it on the screen. The question is from Jonas. To what extent in the tool compatible with the standard D365X environment is the event log data available by default?
Yes,
Wojtek,
log date, event log data is available by default. Yes, so this is like a standard feature in the
of
tool,
the
and you can.
dynamic, yeah, but what is the difference? The difference is that the log, considering our tool, don't covers all activities taken by the user, because logs are just showing the time of the execution and what was executed, but it doesn't show how many times the end user have typed the value and deleted or retype it or change it, or click a different box without any test. I would say the execution of the action taken. So there is a huge difference there, because okay, from the logs you can gather some information what had happened, etc., but you cannot physically discover the actual activity taken by the user.
Yes, if I may add also one more thing,
Yeah,
that you have special statistics pivot. There was actually displayed on the slides, right? You can sort of
you want to
take
show
this
you
data.
Wojtek again, or
Yes, I can show, of
okay?
course. So this, you can provide, sort of put different data together, to compare them, right? To analyze them. So you see by company, by environment, by duration, by months, etc. So it's really like a mining tool. It's not just like a log when you can sort of read and but you can just put some statistic together actually to analyze. Remember also from this use case of the client, right? Compare, for example, specific process per company, right, in the group, right, or per user, right? How specific users perform, right? So it's in order to have a analysis and insights, we need to be able to compare data.
Okay. I see that we have extension to this. We have a second, but we have the extension to this question, and we have a second question. Maybe I will just yeah, go back to this screen, and well, it will be much visible here. Okay, what are the pricing and licensing of this tool? Well, the licensing model is connected with the amount of the people and company which we should be recorded. The details regarding the pricing model can be gathered after the contact with us. Also, during this free trial, we will propose you some offer and propose you some solution which will be as most cost effective for you. So feel free to contact us directly. There will be a contact details to us just in the end of the webinar. And then we can provide you offer considering your actual situation.
Yeah,
Uh,
maybe Rafał, if I
yeah,
also may add one more thing. Obviously,
yeah,
obviously tiers is one thing, like Rafał mentioned, right? So there is a, depending on how many users we have, there is a different pricing. Of course, so huge load of data is not the same as small amount of data, but we also offers, analytic data science services, right? So, if, for example, somebody else doesn't have this specific capability, to analyze the data and provide, we also offer, some, those, so it's not just have a, tool and, forget it, this deal with it. We also offer certain, services with it. So, you can take, all the best and squeeze the data and see what you can get out of it, right? And you have some improvement projects for yourself, right?
okay, there's the thank you, Wojtek, and there's the extension to the Jonas question. I will just show it on the screen. So how are these activities tracked? Is the custom development in the D365 solution? Yeah, the agent which is injected is the additional code to Dynamics environment. So the agent is the not part of the web browser or whatever. It's like your native code of Dynamics 365. So physically, it's not cannot be recognized by user if it is recorded or not, but there is no any lack of performance of the Dynamics environment with this agent here. And
Yes, but it's not in the Dynamics. It's actually standalone application, which
yeah,
actually we inject something we called agent, and it's actually pulls the data, and so it's like Google Analytics, right? Plug into to your website, something like this.
yeah, that's correct. So that's correct. So we have a few question more, but we have already answered for that. Is the user able to fill the agent actions? So, well, no, because the performance which is need to be covered by the agent actions is very low. So it's not there is no possibility that the end user will discover he or she is recorded or not. The second question. Are we able to define the actions taken by user at given time? Wojtek, maybe you will take it.
Yeah, well, we already discussed this briefly, right? Yes, but of course, I also presented this in the tool, right? We can go, to every specific form or field that was, thing that was clicked and form that was input and all the information that was input. So yes, so we can track down to, every single thing. Yeah.
And the third question, no, sorry, the next question, can your Executive Explorer agent be used on AX 2012? Yes, that's correct. That's correct. The Executive Explorer is designed to be used in D365 environment and AX 2012.
But it's
I
a
think
great case for, rollout as well, right?
Yeah, exactly, because you have some modifications, and in your AX 2012, and you want to move and upgrade to that D365, and you are just wondering if these modifications which were done and special forms in AX were physically used by the business. So you can determine that with Executive Explorer, because you can record if and how many times the modifications were used during the certain given time. And the last question, can you use Executive Explorer in UAT environment? This is one of the cases which were already, to be honest, used in one of our clients, because there is a such situation that users are not, I would say, during this user acceptance test phase, they are not clicking the system, and they're just signing the docs that they have done, and everything just went well. So the Executive Explorer can be used in such a significant way that we can determine and check if the business and the key users are doing those user acceptance tests. Okay. Oh, we have another question from Jonas. Okay, we'll show it again. Another question: how does the tool compare to Minute, which was recently acquired by the Microsoft?
That's a good question. Well, we of course don't have detailed intel how Minute worked, but of course we can say that comparing to these technologies we know that we use a little bit different approach. So how to capture the data. Our agent technology is actually smoother than just log analysis, and I think the most important thing, this is a Dynamics dedicated tool, right? Which obviously
Yeah,
does algorithm. I'm not sure if you have experience with some machine learning algorithm models, but these models are taught specifically, the ERP environments, right? So they are just very accurate when doing this specific work, right? Because they're just not process mining for everything. These are process mining tools just for Dynamics.
that's correct. That's correct. Okay, I think we are just moving to the end of today's webinar session. I see no more questions here. Okay, so we'll just go
Yes, of course.
to
I will say this maybe again, right? That we obviously were super happy that if some questions pop to your mind after the webinar, we are obviously
that's
super
correct.
happy to answer them. Yeah, there is always
You can
pleasure to
you
you
can
guys.
use these contact details to us if there will be any questions. Just feel free to reach us out. We will be more than happy to help you guys. If also remember about this free trial, so feel free to click on the link which was in this in the comment section. Well, so thank you for joining us today. Thank you, Wojtek, for
Thank you very
being
much,
the
Rafał.
star show today, and have a lovely day ahead. Bye. See you next time.
Cheers.